Hello, Resonate community, and welcome to the best and the biggest sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world. Today's episode is going to be just me and you, and we're going to have an awesome conversation around sales strategies that you need to boost your business in 2025. Now, before I begin this podcast episode, I have an amazing announcement that I'd like to make to you that I think you are going to love. I've heard the cry. There's been so much recommendation on TikTok. Where's the masterclass? Where's the workshop? When can we see you? Where are you going to be? Etc. And the team and I have decided to put together a sales and entrepreneurship summit that is going to be on the 29th of March 2025 in Johannesburg. We are going to have amazing speakers, some of your favorite speakers from this podcast and some of your favorite speakers on entrepreneurship. And the key focus for our summit this year is how we can integrate tech and AI within our businesses to make sure that we escalate, we elevate, and we make money. I'm so excited. Tickets are already out. They went out last week. And if you haven't gotten one for yourself, I think you need to, because we only have limited space since this is our first one. So the sooner you get your ticket, the sooner we know that you're coming and we can start getting the conversations and the experience ready. There's going to be stalls as well. So if you are a small business owner that is in Johannesburg or wherever you are, but you have capacity to come to Joburg and you would like to showcase and you would like to just come sell your products and services, actually, you're more than welcome to do that. We're going to leave all the link and all the details down below so that you can actually get all the information that you need. The whole idea and the intention really is that we want to create an experience for the people that are attending and the people who are going to be showcasing at the stall. So it's not just going to be you bringing up a stall there so that you can sell, but we're going to create an experience integrated within the event that is going to allow people to know more about what you do, who you are, and the value that you offer. So I'm so excited, and part of this content that I will be sharing throughout is really just to cement some of the topics that we want to engage in on the summit. So woohoo! I'm so excited and I can't wait to meet and see you. So, on to the business of the day, the sales strategies to boost your revenue in 2025. It is January, and for a lot of people, we are getting into the new financial year, the goals. We basically are stepping into half of the first quarter and we're really getting into the tips, and now you're getting to see the revenue. It's easy to make an excuse in January to say that, well, January is slow because people aren't coming, but you can't make excuses in Feb and you can't make excuses in March. So, I want to make sure that you are fully equipped to make sure that you make money within your business. And by the time you come to the summit, you actually are on your way to making that money, and you can actually present either challenges or some of the things that you still need assistance with to myself and some of the experts that will be coming so that we can further help you. But what we are doing, and the intention rather here, is to build a bigger and greater community that is able to just bounce off within each other and learn from each other. So that is going to be exciting. So let's start with the first one. These are just essentially trends, okay, that are coming into the market. And the first one is community building. I know. It's like, gone are the days where we look around and we say, oh, social media is like, oh my God, so social is. No, social media is a marketplace. And I've said this so many times to a lot of people who are willing to listen. Social media is a marketplace. I always use this example to everybody that listens is, you know how back in the day, especially for us that grew up in the townships, where you would have a lady early in the morning with a bucket on the top of her head, screaming for whatever it is that she's selling, amagwinya or fed cooks, so whatever, selling water. Wherever you are from, you can identify with street vendors who walk within the street to sell. Social media has become that street. And if you don't come consistently enough, if you don't come well enough at us, we are not going to be able to buy what you're selling. So you need to understand that community building is going to be very important for the entrepreneurs that truly want to thrive in 2025. Do you have a community that is able to vouch for you? The reason why potentially our podcast and the work that we do is doing so well is truly because of community. Community is the people that are willing to vouch for you and that trust within your products and that trust the things that you do. So, are you going to be building community this year? Now, you guys know, if you've been on this podcast on a lot of things that I share, is that I don't just tell you what to do, I tell you how you're going to do it as well. So here's how you're going to build community. Number one is you're going to show up consistently. And when I say show up, it's whatever that looks like for you. So if it's posting, you're going to do it consistently. And understand this, right? If you think to the analogy that I just shared with you and you can identify with that example that I just shared with you, according to like maybe just how I grew up, is we had somebody who would come in the morning and walk the streets to sell fed cooks, they came at the same time every single day. We knew that if we didn't want to make breakfast this morning, that person would be coming and we would be able to buy fed cooks from them to have breakfast. Now, if they didn't come at the same time all the time, we wouldn't trust them. We wouldn't even plan our lives around them or around buying from them. And they wouldn't have a community out of us. I can even go as far as sometimes when they came in the morning, because we bought from them so much, when our parents weren't home, we would actually get fed cooks from them and promise that would give them money tomorrow when our parents leave money for us. That's part of community building. I'm not saying that you should borrow or lend. I'm just saying that community building builds that level of trust that enables people to have deeper and meaningful conversations with you. And maybe sometimes and potentially getting into that those people's businesses because you've built that community. Very, very important. So you're going to show up consistently. What I really want to be intentional with this year is not overwhelm you with a lot of things, but just get you into a point where you are actually starting. So I want you to look at most of the content that's going to be coming out on this platform as a short course, as something that you're going to watch today and you're going to develop tomorrow and you're going to develop as we move forward. So let's just, if you can just show up consistently, we will have so many conversations moving forward around what are the other things that you can do. I've filmed so much content as well, sharing what are the other things that you would be able to do as well going forward. So you can just go follow that. But the most important thing is show up consistently. Let's start there, and then you can DM me. You can DM the Resonate Hub. You can join all of our communities that we're going to be launching, and then we can start talking about what you need to do next. The second thing, very important, is consistent marketing messaging. Very important. And I want to labor on this example that I just shared with you because it's so practical and I think a lot of people can actually relate to it. Consistent marketing messaging is like, what is the thing that you do that a lot of people know you for? So for instance, every time we do a podcast episode, we say, welcome to the best and the biggest sales and entrepreneurship. That is our consistent marketing messaging. It might not be to drive you to buy anything, but you know that every time we start a podcast, that's how I start. That is how we want to be consistent and be known within the market. If you look, for instance, at, I remember when we were young, actually, when we would be playing housies as like siblings with friends, we would even mimic some of those ladies. They always say the same thing. They don't say different things, because if they say different things when they're marketing and they are showing us that they've arrived, we're going to get confused. And chances are there would be more than one person selling amagwinya or fed cooks. However, we were always willing to go to that lady we know that says the very same thing. And sometimes it would be like the way that they say it. I remember when I grew up in Samora, they would have what's this amagwinya on the top of their head, and they would scream magwinya. But the lady that we bought from just said it a certain way, and there was just something about how she said it that was so consistent, and it was truly just the beginning of her marketing messaging. So we know that if she's here, we would go out and we would then go buy for her. Sometimes it'd be new people who would just walk in our street that day because maybe they had a bit of time and they would scream Magunya, but we would know that it's not them and we wouldn't buy it. We would wait for our lady, or we'll probably have already bought from our lady before that person actually comes. So what is the consistent marketing messaging that you are putting across with the content that you're making for yourself and for your business? Sometimes that consistent marketing messaging just looks like the quality of content that you're putting out. To what quality is it? Does the sound look great? Is your lighting beautiful? Is there certain quirks about you that you're putting out that people can easily relate with? If you don't have a consistent marketing messaging, it becomes hard for you to be memorable to people. We go to places. Sometimes I am at church and somebody literally will walk behind me and say, welcome to the best and the biggest sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world, because that is part of something that we do here, that we love, that is fun. What is that thing for you? What is that consistent marketing messaging? Is there always a plant behind you? Is it your background? What you have to identify what that thing is for yourself. To the example that I just gave you, you have to look at certain things. I remember when we grew up, there were certain ads that were just so easy to remember. They were not easy to remember because they were like so creative, but they were just so easy and so palatable. I remember there was a bathroom bazaar ad that was like, it said something along the line, that's Bizarre, come to bathroom bazaar. It was like, they just spelt bizarre and it was easy to remember. That was their marketing messaging that made it so much easier for me to identify with their brand. And even if I was little, every time we drove past a bathroom bazaar, I would be able to point to them because I'm like, yeah, it's that brand. It's that brand that shows those ads on the TV. But as young as I was at that time, I still remember that ad to this day. I still remember that company to this day because of how memorable that ad was. They could have started brand awareness when I was younger, but now they're a brand that I consistently remember. So sometimes when we share these tools and these tips, don't think about them as like these big things, hoo ha, and these like 7 step strategies. No. Let's start easy. Let's start with the one thing that you want to get really good at, the one thing that you want to develop, and you need to start cultivating that for yourself. Sometimes it's people's background. Sometimes there are just certain things that are great marketing messaging that allows you to connect with people, and you need to look at what that could be for yourself. And how you do that is, number one, you identify the market that you are in, and then number two, you identify what resonates with the market. Okay, when you identify what resonates with the market, for instance, if you are selling body creams, I've been loving this example about body creams lately. If you are selling body creams, what would be something that a lot of people within that are looking for body creams would identify with? So don't sell creams and then you start like trying to create a marketing messaging that has to do with like entrepreneurship or something unrelated to that. Make sure that it's related. If you're selling body creams, maybe work around the whole like smooth as butter like thing that ties very well with the thing that you're selling, so that it resonates easily with those people, like look at how the Bathroom Bazaar example, they were not talking about bathrooms, but they were spelling their brand name in a melodic way that was easy for us to remember. That's raising a lot of brand awareness. That even if I'm 10 and I haven't bought from them yet, but I'll always remember them. And a time will come where when I think about, renovating a bathroom, they're the first people I might think about because I remember them from my childhood. So what is that for you? You need to start cultivating that for your brand. Before I get into the third thing, I want to state that it is very important to realize that when you are getting all of this content and you're watching all of these things, I always say this: grab your notebook, grab your pens. Those are things I talk about a lot because it is so important to not only listen, but to be able to jot down some notes and start seeing how you can cultivate that for your business. You can consume as much information as you want, but if you don't actually bring that information and make it practical to your specific business, that's the truth. It's your specific business. It's not my business. It's not the other person's business. If you don't tie it to your specific business, you miss an opportunity of actually making a big change in your business that could literally bring you more money, grow you more, bring you in the face of your biggest customers, give you more publicity. But you must understand that it's not about the information that you consume, but it's about the information that you take action on, that you personalize, that is going to make a difference for your business, your brand, and every other thing that you want to do. So very, very important. And I hope that you're really taking everything that we're sharing to heart. The third and the last strategy that I want to share with you that's going to help you boost your revenue in 2025 is partnerships. This is a very big one because I think we want to be self-made millionaires, and I think that's perfect. That's great. We want to like struggle and like get it done ourselves, but you don't have to. If really the idea or what you truly want to do is not selfish and is not part of you just wanting to get the glory yourself, you realize that there is so much that you can get or gain, and rather just impart when you partner with other people that are aligned with your goals. Partnerships sometimes aren't like you only benefiting for the other person, but it's being able to find stakeholders or people or businesses that you can find synergy with, that you both can contribute and collaborate within each other's businesses. So I'll give you another example. If you are selling, again, body creams, could you be partnering with salons? Could you be partnering with spas that might not necessarily use your body creams, but they can display them and sell? And maybe for that, what you can do is when you are talking about your butter creams, you can talk about different scents, and some scents that you don't have available, talk about their spa as well. But you guys can find some form of synergy, because let me tell you, collaborations and partnerships are at the core of a lot of things and are at the core of acceleration for a lot of people. You can look at this podcast right now, and we've been talking a lot about how we've been so privileged to grow over a short period of time. It has been because of partnerships. Us having guests come on this platform is partnerships, essentially, because they get to share things that even if I said, but because they have a level of experience, they would be able to share it in a different way that is able to connect with that person. That is a form of partnership. The studio, the team that we have at Resonate, our editors, our production, that is a form of partnership. And sometimes, yes, those partnerships are paid for, but sometimes they're partnerships that people find synergy in. And the important thing you need to realize is that if you can have the right partnerships, you actually relieve yourself from a lot of things that you could be doing yourself. And that's very important. And sometimes, like I keep saying, those partnerships are collaboration. And sometimes, in most seasons, those partnerships are you edifying and you helping those other people in those seasons. There are people that I have partnered with to not even my benefit in different seasons of my life. That makes it so much easier now for me to say to them, can you please come and speak at my event? Or can you please come to my podcast episode and share this? And even ask for favors on certain things because I've also poured into them. And that's the important thing about partnerships is that they have to be based on relationships, especially if they're not like transactional and they are really genuine. They have to be based on relationships. You look at other people and you're like, how did they bag that speaker at the event? How did they do that? Partnerships. It's relationships that they've cultivated over the years that they are now reaping the rewards of. So that becomes very important. Now, these 3 points I've just shared with you are going to become very crucial to you. I think starting and initiating some form of strategy into what you're wanting to do this year. My aim for the events that we have coming up is that you're able to not only get insights from industry experts that will be coming, but more than anything, start actually working through the rest of the strategy for your year. The first quarter of the year is usually trying to test waters and developing or running through the strategy that you have while you are remodeling it and reworking it. And there's so many things within the markets that are changing. And what I want to be able to give our community the opportunity to carve and continuously sustain a strategy that is going to make them their biggest successful selves within their businesses, their brands, and everything that they want to do in the coming year. So I hope that these 3 tools and these 3 strategies that I've shared to boost your business and your revenue in 2025 are going to be really helpful. And that more than anything, you guys, you actually take them and you apply them. And even after you've applied them, you can model them and modify them to what fits you and what fits your business. With that said, I hope that you enjoyed this. It's been a while. I actually haven't sat like this and spoken to you guys in a long time. So I hope that this was lovely. I actually am enjoying it. So you guys need to thank Steph for this because I've been postponing doing solos or just having conversations. But I'm glad we're back and we'll definitely be having more of this. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on our next podcast episode. Goodbye.